Welcome to another episode of Fuck Your Job. I'm Ron Worley.
And I'm Josh Fullenweider.
Fuck your job.
Hey guys, it's Ron Worley here with
Josh Fullenweider, coming from you live from my living room this time.
we are.
There's no penis in the background this time.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, it's another episode of Fuck Your Job. We're here today to talk about what investors are looking for, so that if you're out there trying to find money, you can kind of get a feel for what is available.
Yeah.
Tell us about the banking side, I think, Josh. That's the huge one, because everybody thinks you can go out and just get a loan.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's very difficult to get a loan, right? Ish?
If you've done your homework, it's easy.
Okay.
If you know what you're doing, it's easy.
Okay.
The great thing about banks is they only make money when they lend money.
Right.
It's the only type of industry or company in the world where you only make money when you get your product back.
Right.
So they lend out money to make money on it. So they're always looking for deals. Now, in times of economic crisis, they're being very conservative and only looking for good deals.
Right.
So right now there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, of course, because of the coronavirus. So you've got to have a great deal or a really good grasp of what you can do in order to get money from a bank. So I think there's 4 or 5 C's of credit now, depending on what it is, and it's credit, so your credit score, cash, how much cash you've got into the deal and how much cash you're going to have, collateral, so what you can secure the loan with. I used to know all these by heart. One of them's character, and that's the big one because there's no way to measure it.
Okay.
But it's how you are, how you handle yourself, how you handle your business affairs and everything like that. Cash flow is the other one. So so one's cash, which is just your money on hand and what you got into it. The cash flow is how much money this is going to generate.
Sure.
So, or it's already generating if you're already up and running. So,
Okay.
So that's what a bank looks for is those main items. Now there's a lot that goes into all of that, but we've both invested in things, Ron.
Yeah.
So what do you look for as an investor when you're looking at somebody who wants to partner up with you?
Well, it's interesting because I did that DISC assessment test the other day. You know what that is?
Vaguely.
Dominant, influential, steady, and conscientious. This is the 5 personalities that people fall into. 4 personalities that people fall into.
Okay.
So I found out I'm an influential. What do you call it? An influencer.
Okay. So you get on Instagram and take pictures of yourself?
Little duck lips. So knowing that about myself now, it might change a little bit, but it also helped me understand some of the patterns as an investor that I look for. And one of the things I always do is look way too big. I always think an investment's going to give us 10 times more than what the actual numbers show. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because I'm always trying to sell it to someone else. Like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. It's great. And so the real numbers, the real return is something that I like to look for first.
Okay.
So, and then I think time is the other thing. I don't want something that's going to take me a lot of time.
Right.
Time up front is fine. Time during the project is not fine.
Yeah. Well, shit, we spent more on these episodes than I thought we would as far as time goes.
True. Should invest in some things.
But no, I totally get the time thing. It's how much time is it going to take me to do this project?
Great.
One of the reasons I like rental property over doing fix and flips, and I've done both, is a rental property, even if it's fixing it up at the beginning, is I can buy it, fix it, and turn it over to a property manager, and then it's done. Mostly done. I do the books for it or whatever throughout the year. I can drive by and make sure they're well kept. But that's minimal for what I guess that to me that's a minimal amount of time.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's I think that's the key. You're a busy man. You're doing a lot of things, and you don't need another thing to do. Now, how do you feel? What's the end goal? So a good investor should always know what their exit strategy is, right? Mm-hmm. Do you do that yourself? Do you look at your exit strategy when you're buying a rental? or any other investment? I mean, with the spec, we had that.
Yeah, we knew our strategy when we built the spec. It's
Right.
sell it. I always prepare myself for exit strategies. Some of my stuff I don't have a specific exit strategy for. So when it comes to real estate. So with the rentals, I look at a couple of different scenarios for when I sell it, or if I'm going to, and when I sell it. Even with some of the business investments, it's okay, I'm going to hold this for a period of years. Now I might say my goal is 3 to 5 years, or my goal might be 10 to 15 years.
Gotcha.
And then I'm going to sell it. Some of my rental property, one in particular, I'm planning on holding for another 10 years, and I've already owned it for 8.
Sure.
So, and that one I've got a very specific purpose for. That's to help fund Ashley's college education. Right. So with what it's earned and appreciated so far, pays for most of the college, then give it a few more years to earn and appreciate some more, and then
off to college she goes.
Well, no, after
soon.
she's done with college.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So by the time she's done with college, that'll be 8 years from now. So
Okay.
then we'll pay attention to the market. But I mean, even when we did the spec, it's okay, primary exit strategy is sell it.
Right.
What's our backups? Okay, well, we could rent it to cash flow for a while and until we can sell it.
Right.
So
yeah, and I think another huge thing is the players involved. With the spec home, we had a great builder. We had you and I, and the one thing we didn't have was a great location. I don't want to say location itself. The ground was great. The area was great, but some of the people we were working with there, not so great. I think it's important to have the right people. It goes back to the trust thing.
yes.
You know, what kind of people are we working with? How can we use them, take value of what they're good at, and how do we use that to make money? Sort of like the FedEx deal. You know, we had a great manager. We trusted each other, but we had a lot of question marks on employees, the trucks, things like that. Not for me, the amount of trust that it's going to be taken care of all comes from the type of person that's running it.
Yeah.
So where their values at, what's their disc assessment?
Yeah. Well, and I think that going back to the banking side of it, you're talking about trust. We looked at it as character. Okay, what's this person's history? What have they been like to work with in the
Right.
past? What do people who know them think of them? That sort of thing.
That's interesting that you say that about banks, because that is not my experience.
So for the long time, it was they had the 5 C's, and they left out character, figuring that they could do everything else beforehand. So it was 5 C's, and they dropped character, thinking everything else made it work.
Right.
And then they realized that there are times when people who have money won't pay back their loans, and people who don't have money will pay back their loans. And
Character.
it's because of the person's character.
Yep.
And I've had this happen. I had a guy, and I told him that he should probably declare bankruptcy. And I could have gotten fired, because obviously a bank doesn't want a customer to declare bankruptcy. But I told the guy, I'm like, you need to declare bankruptcy. You're cash flow negative. You have no money. And he said, nope, I'm going to make it work. And I saw him work 100 plus hours a week, keeping his business alive and making payments. He was selling, his favorite car. He had a small car collection, and he sold his favorite car so he could make a couple payments on the loan. And there was no reason that business should have worked and that loan should have been repaid if you just looked at the numbers.
Yeah.
But that guy made it work, and I would lend that guy money any day of the week.
Right, because he's going to pay you back.
Yep.
So similar story when in 2003, I was basically bankrupt, and I was looking at bankruptcy or finding a way to pay it back, and I was $150,000 in debt, and I was homeless, and I just slowly started pulling my way out of it, and over the next 5 years, I ended up paying off all that debt, never declared bankruptcy. But you talk to the debtors and see what you can do. You know, pay half now, pay half later, pay this, pay that. And pretty soon, within 5 years, I was buying my house again. You know, but no problem. It's better than a bankruptcy because that's 7 to 9 years.
Yeah.
On what kind you do, right? So,
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't have that black eye. I can lecture people about bankruptcy now.
Yeah.
Don't fucking do it. You're fucking up our country.
So I learned something last year about bankruptcy is that you can actually declare bankruptcy so many times that that the courts will no longer let you wipe out all your debt.
Oh.
They will actually force you to, they'll stick you, so there's two types of bankruptcy that most people claim. One is can't repay it, wipe it out. The other is a forced repayment plan that banks pretty much have to accept.
Yeah.
So this guy had declared the one that wiped out debt so many times that the courts would no longer allow him to.
Cool.
They're like, no, you are paying all this back.
Right. You're just going out and blowing
Which
money.
I didn't know ever happened, but
So I didn't know until it happened to me, and it's happening a lot right now. In bail bonds, people bankruptcy off of my debt, their debt to me.
I didn't know they could do that.
Absolutely, and I didn't know that either until the very first time it happened 15 years ago. And it was a small amount, but now I'm getting more and more of it. They're going out and bailing people out, and they're not paying me, and then just claiming bankruptcy. As soon as they get off the bond, they claim bankruptcy. And I even had one that ran on me, took off, and I had to pay a $20,000 forfeiture on it.
Ooh.
She came in, made one payment for $1,000, and then claimed bankruptcy. And she's gone. The courts just keep.
Yeah. No.
Just drives me nuts, man. Pay your frickin' bills.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it is very hard for me to lend money or trust people with my money when they've got a bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Unless it's a medical bankruptcy. That's about
Yeah,
the only
that's
one
huge.
that I totally excuse.
Yep.
I'm like, if you've got a medical bankruptcy, there is no way you were planning on those expenses.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that one I feel bad for, but I've been in tight spots. There's been times when I wanted, 15 years ago when we were in the middle of the recession, or right when the recession was starting.
Yeah.
So 12 years ago, I wanted to move. We had graduated. We wanted to move, and we couldn't sell our house. And it was like, well, I could walk away from this house and, let the bank eat a $50,000 loss, or
Right.
I can just stick it out.
Right. You stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at you. We're in your house.
It
doing
works.
Video.
Different house, but
Yeah.
oh man.
This is a new house, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know this because I sold it to him. What else about that?
So we've talked about time. We've talked about what do you think about money when it comes to investing with somebody?
So I think you just have to invest a secure amount. It's like going to Vegas and gambling. You take the money you're going to lose, and you know you're going to lose it before you go in. That way, if you do lose it, you feel pretty good that you know that it didn't bankrupt you. So you're not going to take your entire life savings and invest it into something. And you see that it's common, especially in older people. They take their entire nest egg for the rest of their retirement and they invest it in something. And it's most common with their own kids. And they trust their kid to go out and open up a new store or something, and the next thing you know, all their money's gone. So I always say, if you can afford to do it, like you said, you put $500 into that golf company. Who cares if you lose it?
$500 isn't going to make or break me at this point. So now there were times in my life
12 years ago.
Yeah, 12 years ago, $500 was make or break.
Right.
So.
And you're not hoping to get rich. That's the other thing. I think people think you're going to invest this money and you're going to become a millionaire.
No,
that's not how it works. It's small amounts of returns over a long period of time.
This $500 is an 8% return over every year. So
$40 a year you're getting out.
Yeah, $40 a year.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's gonna add up quick.
Dang, dude, that's retirement money.
Yeah, no, but that's what it is. With I think the last episode we talked about I 1031 into a Delaware statutory trust.
Right.
It was okay, I could take this $100,000, and because I'd already taken money out of the property via loans, after I paid taxes, I would have ended up with $50,000 maybe.
Yeah.
So give over half of it to the government, then, or I could 1031 exchange into a project that was not my ideal project.
Right.
I had stuff, if it was something that I had found, I could have found a much better return. But
Yeah.
anyway, this one,
8%.
5% cash on cash return.
Oh, okay.
And then should earn 5% appreciation over time. So a 10% return over the life of the investment. But $100,000, I'm going with a 5% return, so I'm going to get $5,000 a year out of it.
That's pretty good.
That's,
It's safe.
yeah, it's a nice, safe, stable
Right.
investment. But it's not a lot.
But if you want to take it out and do something else with it to invest it, you can 1031 it somewhere else, right?
So I can't take it out until the project sells.
Oh, okay.
That was the only thing that I didn't like about it, is I can't sell my share back at
Right.
any time. I have to wait till the entire project sells.
Okay.
And it's got a 10-year lifespan, so, which was how long this money was tied up in the last house, so.
So you'll get 150 grand back when you do get it back. Plus you collecting $5,000 a year until then.
Yeah.
Perfect. I like it.
And then I'll just do it into another property.
Right. So on that note, what else is there for investing as an investor? What's something that we haven't talked about yet that you can lend to these guys?
I think the biggest thing is it's about the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a lot about character, but it's the relationship that you have with people.
Yep.
You know, you and I knew each other a while before we decided to invest in a property together.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a banker, I didn't really ever lend to somebody who came in their first time and wanted money. Most of the loans I made were to people that I knew or I had come to know through banking or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's about the relationship, so people get to know you and get to know your character.
Yeah, so it goes back to get out in your community and meet people and meet rich people. If you're trying to open a business, go ahead and go out and reach out to people and get to know them. Don't just call me. Oh, it drives me nuts. Call me up and just say, hey, can I have money? That drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know you from Adam, or sometimes I do, and every time I see you, you're asking me for money for your projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No, thank you.
I don't help people. Most of what I do. Most people don't have a clue because I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just sit back, okay. We used to go to real estate investment conferences a lot until I realized that most of the people there don't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
So my personal feeling, any real estate investment group or conference that you go to, maybe 10% of the people in the room, but more likely 5% have any investment property, and then that number gets smaller when you go up to 2 investment properties. So we get people come up to us and tell us about all the, what they're doing and everything like that, and how they're trying to needing money and everything like that. And I'm like, well, how many deals have you done? And they're like, well, this will be my first deal. I've done,
Experience.
I stopped going when I had 10 properties. And I'm like, I'm not learning from you guys.
Yeah, you're the one teaching everybody at that point.
Yeah.
Good golly. Well, and I think that's another thing you just said. Experience is everything too. So, an investor's looking for somebody that's really good at what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, and that's not fair to a lot of people, because it's like, well, how do you get experience if I can't get started?
You don't start a company, you go work for someone else for a while.
Franchise. Franchises
Yeah.
are a great way to borrow on somebody else's experience.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about axe throwing other than it's fun.
Right. Right. So you use their experience and
Yeah, they've built out the POS system. They've got the website builders. They do all that stuff that I don't want to do, and 2, I don't know how to do.
Right. Amen. Well, I like it, Josh. What else we got? Let's close this.
That's all I've got.
Okay.
I know we kind of got off track a little bit here
We
and
do
there.
every time, dude. Just cut that editing.
I never do. I just Like, they can watch us be stupid.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. So
All right.
Next episode coming up. See you guys. Join us on Facebook at The Jobless Legion or subscribe to our YouTube channel and like, comment, and share.
So that we can get the message out to aspiring entrepreneurs just like you.
Thank you.